Much better. Please welcome Food Not Bombs, Melbourne, Florida.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Why don't you say who you are and perhaps how long you've been with the organization?
I'm Whit. I've been cooking with Food Not Bombs for somewhere between a year and a half, 2 years, and I just started doing kind of administrative and planning on the side as well.
Okay.
I'm Sally. I started working with this chapter of Food Not Bombs back when it sort of revived in early 2021. Had to step away for a little bit for family reasons and got fully back in the swing of things a couple years ago. So yeah, I'm basically at every single share every weekend unless there's something physically keeping me away.
Sally is currently our cornerstone, and also holds so many supplies just in her garage. She is now our storage unit.
Yeah.
Her house is being taken over.
Yeah. Everything lives in my garage for the most part. All of our serving utensils, clothing, food, supply, well, not food, but shoes, supplies, toiletries, everything. Tents.
So many sleeping bags.
So
important. I think the thing that stood out to me the most when we were getting to know each other is that the meal that you're serving is a hot meal.
Yes.
Which is extremely important. Food insecurity is a big problem right now, and there's nothing worse than eating green beans out of a can.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it takes dignity away. So tell us about what kind of food you're serving and how important that is to the people you serve.
So we do everything really potluck style. Volunteers tend to coordinate via text. Sometimes we get donations from local businesses. We try to make sure that 6 people don't all cook pasta. So we have a relatively coordinated meal depending on what we have on hand. We line up like cafeteria style, and we serve up. And usually the people serving also get a chance to eat as well. Everybody sits and eats together.
Yeah. It's really communal. We really feel like sitting down and actually breaking bread with your community.
Indeed,
I mean, there's a deep significance to everybody sitting around the table together and sharing the same meal. So we cook vegan or vegetarian. However, if people donate food to us, we're going to make use of it. So we're not going to turn anything away.
The Food Not Bombs tagline is solidarity, not charity. I think that's a big difference between us and what you would think of as like a soup kitchen. We don't pass food down to a person. This is a community meal, We all eat together. We serve laterally. We all deserve dignity, and we humanize everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, all of us, we always talk about the fact that your neighbors are not just the people who live in the houses on your street. And in fact, it's kind of funny. I've lived in my neighborhood for over 4 years now. I've said hello to my neighbor on my right. I don't know how many times. I have never gotten a hello back. I hardly know anyone's name. And yet when we go to the shares, I know so many people, and I know their names, their stories, their backgrounds. I know, that they've been looking for a job and they haven't had success yet, or they are starting a job and they need a pair of steel-toe boots because it's a job they're starting on Monday, or, they're trying to find a job and they don't have a phone and it's hard for people to contact them. So the people that we spend time with on Sunday, they're some of my favorite people in the world. And, in addition to, kind of coming from the human dignity perspective, we ask no questions and we put no qualifications. You don't have any barriers to entry. We're not going to ask you, you don't have to be hungry enough. You don't have to be worthy. You don't
know the secret handshake or Bible verses.
We do not care if you are sober. We don't care if you have a record. We don't care if you are undocumented. We don't
want to see an ID. We just want you to show up and eat.
Yeah, you show up.
We've had people,
you want a plate? That's it.
I've seen people pull up in a car on their way home from work.
Yeah.
We're not just, again, a soup kitchen. We don't just serve like exclusively unsheltered people. If you're a person and you eat food, come and hang out and eat with us.
That's it.
And we have a lot of people actually, as we all know, you look at the grocery prices, there are a lot of people who used to be able to make ends meet and now can't. I don't know how many times I've talked to somebody, like a checker in the grocery store or something, and mentioned that this is going to Food Not Bombs, and they've asked where to go because they need to find us afterward.
It's becoming
rough for everybody.
It's becoming more and more of a problem with the lack of affordable rent and housing and wages not following with what rent is. We're seeing more and more people in this category of the ALICE population, and it's only going to get worse. And so what you're doing is extremely important.
Well, and we really feel like it's our moral obligation as human beings
Amen.
to care for one another. That we have an obligation, if someone is hungry, to make sure they're fed. Because hunger is one of those things that will not wait. You can't delay.
No, you can't delay. And I say all the time, it should not be a human. It should be a human right to eat and to have housing and to have some kind of health care and access to mental health care and access to education.
Yes.
Strong agree.
If you don't have those, it's not okay. And we have to, as humans, provide that and support each other so that everybody has the ability to thrive. The social determinant of health, if you don't know what it is, look it up. But it's a big part of this and putting humanity first as opposed to,
right.
It's not going to happen to me, or it's not going to happen in my backyard. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that, although there are a lot of us who are out there, in the quote volunteer capacity, although I don't think of any of us that way, who have been on the other side there and know, we have people who are like, yeah, I know exactly what it's like to have to live outside, to have to camp in the woods, or to live in my car, to eat out of a trash can,
shower at a truck stop.
Exactly. And, for better or worse, that does give people, I think, a much greater level of empathy and understanding when they look around and they say, I can see myself here. I can see my family here. I'm seeing myself look back, in when I'm seeing people who just want to be treated like human beings, And, people often ask us, like, what can we do? And I say, aside from just coming out, getting to know the people in your community, don't just like pretend like you don't see somebody who's, suffering. Coming out and meeting people, but also just, you can always listen, we can't fix everything that's wrong in the world because it's systemic, right? One person, 5 people, we can't fix the problems caused by capitalism. But what we can do is listen. And a lot of times I think that's one of the greatest needs of all, is to just know that somebody hears you, that you matter to someone in the world.
Exactly.
Well, when you listen, the interesting thing is you really learn. And some of the people that I've worked with, when I just sit and listen, their backstory is just incredible. Yeah. And every time I kind of get to my threshold with this kind of work, where I'm like, I'm a little burned out, I always insert myself into the families that we work with and I listen. And it fuels me to keep going. Yeah. And we need to make this more normal, to listen and to serve and to lift up.
I think that a lot of people, because we've gotten a lot of people in the last month and a half since SNAP was cut off and the government shut down and everything, people both on the side of like needing support and also people who are feeling like, oh gosh, everything is on fire. I want to do something about this. And I lost my train of thought.
A thing that we're seeing a lot is that people who have never had to be hungry for over a day in their lives suddenly see how close they are to not having a place to live, to not being able to get health care. Like, a lot of us are living on the edge these days. Working class Americans are struggling.
And to your point as well, not to interject, but to your point as well, those who have the abilities to help are perhaps seeing the puzzle pieces connect more.
And it's still not without pushback. I mean, as we see our city has been determined to move us, which seems inconsequential until you realize that so many of the people who come to our shares just so that they can get a hot meal once a week don't have transportation.
Right.
They're
Yes.
dragging kids with them. The
Yes.
bus system here is pretty weak, especially on a Sunday.
One of the things we actually wanted to have one of our unhoused friends here with us tonight, and it's really germane to the topic at the moment. We had a time we set up. We were going to meet. I drove back and forth, and he wasn't there. I had no way of reaching him. He had no way of reaching me to say, like, oh, the chain on my bike broke and I can't get to where we said we were going to meet up. Can you meet me somewhere else? I don't know what happened. And until he shows up at a share again, I won't know.
Yeah.
And so when the city council was talking about, oh, we should just shift people around, it'll be no problem. Like, do you realize how few of our friends have access to a phone, to the internet? Heck, I have both, and I don't know if I'd even be able to remember that kind of schedule. So, and originally when they were talking about it, there's a lot of discussion of like, is there enough parking? Is there enough parking? And I thought, you really have no idea
They don't have
how
vehicles.
people come to our shares.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
bike, they walk, and they
sometimes.
walk far.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But being able to do this kind of community thing consistently, I mean, if you don't have a fixed address, or if you do, but gosh, you don't know, are the lights always going to be on when you get home at the end of the day? Knowing that you can come to this place on this day at this time and talk to your neighbors and have a good time and be treated like a human being because you are one, but you don't get that throughout the week. That is so invaluable, just to have that, ease of community.
It was very interesting where the organization I run in Vero Beach, we had a large field, which we have since expanded on for housing. But we decided we wanted to educate the community on ways that you sleep with a family. So we put a car out there, we put a tent out there, and we put a couch to represent couch surfing. And then we took a table and we filled it with things that Snap you could get with Snap, and then things that you couldn't get with Snap. Jaw dropping about how many people just really didn't understand. They think, they've done this or that to get to this point, or, they can't get this product without having Snap. It's just an incredible thing to watch. So I think educating the community, they don't have cell phones. They don't have access to cars. The bus system is horrible. It doesn't take you anywhere. And if you do have to get somewhere in a certain amount of time, it takes you 2.5 hours to get there.
Exactly. And you're not going to do that if you're not sure that on the other end of it,
How do you get home?
there's going to be a meal.
Exactly.
You're
How
not
you're
going to
gonna
take the
get
risk
home.
of coming out to a share and maybe getting the wrong week or us not being there. Yeah, I mean, there's so many obstacles that until you start talking to some of the people who are living it, you just aren't going to really fully grasp.
Absolutely.
Let's say you do have a bike, but you don't have the front end rear lights. Well, you're going to get a ticket. And then you may lose your bike. And who knows, you might end up tossed in jail for a couple days. Or, you have your bike, it gets stolen. How do you replace one?
Sure.
There's so few resources. And again, without the ability to look online, to be able to connect to people, resources, I mean, you're just in an information vacuum, especially now without the Daily Bread having a physical address. That is one place where people could, again, for better or worse, go and at least, it was like a central place where they could go and ask questions. They knew that someone would be there.
I think what our community, any community, doesn't understand is that just ignoring the situation will make it so much worse. It'll make it so much worse. If we provide supportive services for people that are struggling with their income, with housing instability, with other issues, we will be able to stabilize them and we'll be able to better our community because we are helping them. Ignoring them and disturbing camps and disturbing places where people feel safe will only make it worse. And so it's super important that we work together as a community to provide supportive services to help these people that need assistance.
And pushing legislation to break it up was not the answer. You guys won
Yes,
for lack
we
of a better
did.
word.
It was a big
We
win.
did.
You should be proud of
Just
that.
to be able to be consistent.
Yes.
Just to keep
Yeah.
doing what we're doing. I mean, it flies in the face of humanity to see that not only is society clearly flawed, failing, it's 2025. Didn't we just like blast a Tesla into space a couple of years ago? We have so many resources.
Yeah.
Why is anybody hungry?
Yeah.
Like, really, we all have to
Truly.
eat to live. If you don't eat, you just straight up die. Why is anybody hungry? It's ridiculous. So that's a big failing of society. Poverty should not exist.
Yeah.
And then to see that in this massive void of resources, are we going to take action to make this better, to improve and to strengthen our communities, or are we going to keep imposing more little difficulties? It's just like lemon in the wound.
Indeed.
I mean, this is one of the reasons why we are specifically anarchists and leftists is, you know, if you wanted to do something tomorrow about hunger in your community or the needs of people in your community, and you could start a Food Not Bombs in Vero Beach tomorrow. Like, you don't have to go and ask permission because
Or you shouldn't have to go.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't have to go.
We've been told
Agreed.
it's an arrestable offense before. We have.
Well, I mean, like, you could actually you don't have to ask permission from the
Food Not
boss
Bombs,
of Food
yeah.
Not Bombs.
Right.
Yeah. We're not a 501c3 or anything. We're just people.
Group of people.
We're just people.
folks in the neighborhood
Absolutely.
who think that things can be better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is fabulous.
And you've been doing it for here in the Melbourne area for 5
5
years.
years,
So
5 years.
congratulations on that.
Thank you.
How would people find you online?
So we have an Instagram and we have Facebook. I believe we have a TikTok, but don't ask me. I try to stay out of that altogether.
We're definitely active on Facebook.
Very
you can also
active.
just show up. You don't have to cook something. You don't have to bring anything but your body. You can come eat whether or not you feel like you deserve it. Come and hang out and eat and chat, and it's awesome. It's really fun.
So if you're looking for us on Instagram or Facebook, look for the Melbourne, Florida Food Not Bombs. We have gotten some very confused Australians in the past, and for all I know, they've gotten some confused Floridians. So just look for us on both, just under Melbourne, Florida Food Not Bombs.
Show up anytime at
Yeah.
Riverview Park. We serve food on 4 every Sunday. Torrential rain, holidays.
Yeah.
We're there. We're going to be
Unless
there.
there's a tornado on top of us, we are there,
We're there.
every Sunday.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate what you do. And hopefully we've educated some people tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks for having
Thank you
us.
so much.
My
Thanks.
pleasure. Some friends of mine from Buffalo. Song seemed appropriate. This is the Goo Goo Dolls, Let Love In, here on Keller Radio.